Good morning. Welcome again to English 9 by Teacher JM. I hope that you are all doing fine today. Before we start our discussion for today, let us have a short review of what we discussed last time. Last time, we discussed about prejudice, and we learned that prejudice is a prejudgment or forming an opinion before becoming aware of the relevant facts of a case. We also discussed the different types or the common types of prejudice, and they are gender, ethnic or racial, sexual orientation, age, and class prejudice. To start, what word would best describe your feelings whenever someone is biased against you? Again, what word would best describe your feelings whenever someone is biased against you? You can type your answer on the comment section below. At the end of the lesson, learners are expected to determine the common types of biases and prejudices, 2. Differentiate biases from prejudices, and 3. Recognize biases and prejudices in real life situations. Let us first watch this video and learn something from it.
It's a shame that there still is that double standard. Sayang daw ako, because I'm a single mother. If a guy gets a girl pregnant, he's a stud, right? But if a girl gets pregnant, malandi siya. When the news spread of my pregnancy, people were like, sayang, she was at the top of her game. People immediately would make up stories about me or assume that I'm malandi or a woman of the world. Was I unfairly judged? Yes. But then, did it stop me? No. Did it make me stronger? Yes. And will it keep me going? Hell yes. Labels are a challenge. To me, it was challenge accepted. I wanted to show people that no matter what happens to you, it should never stop you from being successful. In the end, I've got to do whatever I wanted to do. And as an actress, I've never been happier. Being a single mom, it's really empowering because there's more purpose, and nothing's greater than a mother's love. I'm blessed. Saya? I don't think so. Can you whip it? Because I did.
According to Denise, do not let labels hold you back. Be strong and be brave. What is bias? It is a disproportionate weight in favor of or against an idea or thing, usually in a way that is close minded, prejudicial, or unfair. Biases can be innate or learned. People may develop biases for or against an individual, a group, or a belief. Imagine to be in this scenario. Your neighbor has invited you to see his child's school play, and since you love children, you agree to go. After sitting through the play, everyone who attended is handed a score sheet, and asked to score each child's performance on a scale of 1 to 10. Although this is a hypothetical scenario, the odds are fairly good that you would give your neighbor's child a higher score, not because she was the best, but because you have a personal liking towards children. So that is already a form of a bias scenario. Consider this. Bias can be useful through though as it helps us to learn about people's opinions and beliefs. Isn't it? We'll learn about their opinions and beliefs because of those biases. So somehow it can be useful. Bias can be good when a person uses it properly for a good cause, but it could be bad when a person hurts someone. There are common types of biases. We have the first one, which is the conformity bias. This relates to bias caused by group or peer pressure. Example: Anna is unsure with her answers on her assignment. When her friends provide answers, Anna agrees with her friends. With her friends' answers, believing that they are smarter than her. So when we say conformity bias, you are relying to the opinions of others, of your friends, of a group, of a peer pressure. Okay, so that is already a conformity bias. We also have the beauty bias. This plays out in terms of other physical attributes a person may have. Example: our company will only accept an applicant who is in 6 feet tall or above and someone who is good looking. So that is already a beauty bias because this company will only accept person who are 6 feet tall. And we know that there's only few who are 6 feet tall. Okay? And they are also going to hire only those who are good looking only. Okay? So that is an example of a beauty bias. We also have the number three, which is the halo effect. The halo effect happens when we see one great thing about a person and we let the halo glow of that significant thing affect our opinions of everything else about that person. So we are talking about the good attitude or attribute of a person here. Let's say, for example, Jen is thinking that people who are good looking are also smarter, kinder, and funnier than less attractive people. So Jen thought that only those who are good looking are smarter, kinder, funnier compared to the less attractive. So that is already a halo effect. It is because it is because of a good looking people, you think also of a positive attributes also to that person. We also have the number four, which is the horns effect. The horns effect is the opposite of the halo effect. It is when we see one bad thing about a person and we let it cloud our opinions of his other attributes. For example, Gina's friend can't deliver her speech well. Then Gina assumes that her friend is unintelligent. See, it is because her friend cannot deliver the speech. She assumes that her friend is unintelligent. Okay, from one a bad scenario to another bad bias opinion. We also have the number five, which is the similarity bias. This happens when we want to surround ourselves with people we feel are similar to us. And as a result, we tend to work more with people who are like us. For example, Sheila is rich and party goer. Her neighbor suddenly wants to be her friend, but she knows that she is not rich and party goer. That is why she rejects her. It is because that neighbor is not rich and party goer. She doesn't belong to the group. So we are talking about a similarity bias here. You only accept those people who are the same to you, who are similar to you. Number six, confirmation bias. This refers to a bias when we look for evidence to back up our own opinions of a person. Let's say, for example, you got the first impression of your classmate that he is a bad person because of the way he talks. And afterwards, you became a keen observer of him and everything he does to back up your impression. So when you got the first impression that he is a bad person, you gather more evidence to back up that first impression. So that is a confirmation bias. Number seven, bandwagon effect. This is the tendency to adopt a certain behavior, style, or attitude simply because everyone else is doing it. Let's say, for example, Anna is an avid fan of Golden State Warriors, but suddenly shifted to Toronto Warriors when they won 2019 NBA championship game and became famous and trending worldwide. So before Anna is an avid fan of Golden State Warriors, but because of that scenario where Toronto Warriors won the 2019 NBA championship and became famous and trending, Anna shifted from the Golden State to the Toronto Warriors. Okay, so that is a bandwagon of effect. You simply go with the flow, follow the crowd, something like that. Okay? And we have the number eight, which is the gender bias. This is widely held set of implicit biases that discriminate against a gender. For example, women should always do the household chores. So that is already a gender bias. Okay, we are talking about women here. It's because they are women, they are the one who is going to do the household chores. Okay? So to practice, you can write your answer on a piece of paper and afterward check your answer. So let's start. You are going to identify what type of bias is illustrated in this scenario. Girls tend to receive higher grades than boys in math and science courses through high school, but they are less likely to choose careers along science and engineering. What type of bias is this? You can write your answer on a piece of paper. Let's check. Yes, that is a gender bias because girls and boys was mentioned on this sentence or scenario. Number two, Sierra Madre is the longest mountain range in the Philippines. What type of bias is this? Write your answer on a piece of paper. Okay, let's check your answer. Yes, that is a confirmation bias because we gather for an evidence to confirm that Sierra Madre is really the longest mountain range in the Philippines. Number three, sorry about this one. Others believe that in a pageant, someone with a fair skin should always win. What type of bias is this? Write your answer again on a piece of paper. Let's check. Yes, that is a beauty bias because they are talking about a fair skin here. Next, a student who has a bad attitude may be really smart and do great work, but the teacher might believe that the student isn't a good student because he is not a well-behaved student. What type of bias is this? Okay, let's check your answer. Yes, that is a horns bias. Why? It is because of the bad attitude you gather for evidence to confirm that he is not a well behaved student. So that is a horns bias. Next, attractive people are successful people. What type of bias is this? Write your answer. Okay, let's check your answer. Yes, that is a beauty bias because of the word attractive people. Okay? Because of the phrase attractive people. Okay, next. Girls perform better in essay type questions. What type of bias is this? Okay, let's check your answer. Yes, that is really a gender bias. Next scenario. Natasha and Sarah are talking about how much they hate Nick. Nicole likes Nick, but agrees with the two girls to keep the conversation going. What type of bias is this? Let's check your answer. Yes, that is a conformity bias because you rely on the opinion of others. Okay? Next. We were made to believe that witches always wear a pointed triangular hat and ride a flying broom. So, what type of bias is this? Write your answer on a piece of paper. Let's check your answer. Yes, that is really a bandwagon bias. Why? It is because you were made to believe. You were made to believe. Okay? Next scenario. Women should always do the household chores. This was this given an example earlier. So this is yes, a gender bias. Okay, so these are the differences between bias and prejudices. Bias and prejudice. So we have in the bias the human tendency to make systematic errors in judgment or when making decisions based upon certain thinking, thoughts, or preconceived notions or ideas. It talks about unfairness. It has a tendency to lean in a certain direction either in favor of or against a particular thing, while prejudice is a prejudgment, an assumption made about someone or something before having adequate information or knowledge to be able to do so with guaranteed accuracy. This is more on discrimination. An individual may be prejudiced against others based on factors as race, age, gender, or sexual orientation, class, status, religion, nationality, and amongst others. So that is the differences between bias and prejudice. So I hope that by this time you have already mastered the difference between bias and prejudice. So right now, we are going to have an activity again. So what you're going to do is to classify each statement as expressing either bias or prejudice. So again, you can have your paper with you and you can write your answer on a piece of paper. And afterwards, we're going to check it. Let's start. Number one, I hate Lakers fans. Make me angry. So what is that? Is that a bias or a prejudice? Write your answer on a piece of paper. Let's check your answer. Yes, that is a prejudice. Why? And that's because they are Lakers fans. You are angry at them. So you are discriminating them. Number two, even though Noah is more qualified in the job, I'll still hire Jake because I adore his sense of humor. Is this a bias or a prejudice? Write your answer. Let's check your answer. Yes, it is a bias because you like to hire Jake because of his sense of humor. Next, number three. You should go back to your country. This is America. There's no place here for Asians. What is this? Is this a bias or a prejudice? Write your answer. Let's check your answer. It is a prejudice because of the discrimination that was mentioned here. Number four. He is definitely the murderer because they say he looks like one. What is this? Is this a bias or a prejudice? Okay, let's check your answer. It is a prejudice because of the discrimination that was mentioned here because he looks like one. So because of that, he is the murderer now. Okay, number five. Look, he has a tattoo. He must be a bad guy. What is this? Is this a bias or a prejudice? Let's check your answer. It is a prejudice because of the discrimination again that was mentioned, because of the prejudgment that you have done. Because he has a tattoo, he must be a bad guy already. Okay, so that is number six now. William Shakespeare wrote 38 plays and 154 sonnets. What is this? Bias or a prejudice? Let's check your answer. It is both. Okay, it might be a bias, it might be a prejudice. Okay, but it is in the middle. All right, number seven now. I respect those who wear suit and tie rather than those who wear pants and shirt. Is this a bias or a prejudice? Let's check your answer. It is a bias because you only respect those who wear suit and tie. So that is already um, a form of unfairness. Okay, number eight. In every class, the girls perform better than the boys. What is this? Is this a bias or a prejudice? Okay, write your answer. Let's check your answer now. It is a bias. Okay, because you like girls and you thought that they perform better rather than the boys. Number nine. In 2016, Rodrigo Roa Duterte became the 16th president of the Philippines. Is this a bias or a prejudice? Let's check your answer now. It is both. Okay? And we have the last. My neighbor drives like an old man. Is this a bias or a prejudice? Write your answer. It is a prejudice, okay? Because it is a discrimination. Okay, and you think that he drives like an old man. All right, so that's it. So I hope that with that, you have already mastered the difference between bias and prejudice. Okay, and for your task, you are going to work on this task via Google Form, the task 3 and 4, and they are together, and you are also going to answer the reflection questions also via Google Form. It is already posted in your Google Classroom classwork, so you can check it out. To end, life has a funny way of teaching us. It will create a deep sadness so we know how to truly understand happiness. It will create chaos in our lives so that we may appreciate the peaceful times, and it will take those we love away from us so that we will truly understand what their present meant to us. Thank you so much for today. Goodbye, class, and have a good day.